and good evening. Hopefully I'm in focus by this point. Let me get to my review of Dunkirk in a minute, but we'll just start off saying, sorry neighbors, I was up really late last night. Didn't get home till probably 2:30 or 3 maybe, so I ended up sleeping in until noon, which is highly unusual for me, and as such I didn't really do anything today as far as like going to work, anything is done. So it's a very unproductive day on my part, but I had fun last night. Getting back to last night, for those of you who watched yesterday's video, you know I was going to go see Dunkirk, and that movie was amazing. The one I went with was complaining a little bit about the Christopher Nolan audio mix, as she called it, and that the dialogue was, as she felt, was mixed back low. I understood everything, which is odd because I'm the drum tech, which only means I'm the guy who's half deaf. But I didn't have a problem with it. She seemed to be a little annoyed with it, but one of the most visually stunning films I've ever seen. I mean, just indescribably beautiful. Went and saw it in IMAX, which I highly recommend. The screen was just, I mean, it's just insanely huge, 70 millimeter. I'm not sure what the aspect ratio was. It almost felt 4:3. It was really tall. They didn't really letterbox much. I do know that from my friend, she said that there was a fair amount of film formats used, and there's one scene where I did notice they went to another something other than 70 mil IMAX, because it did go letterbox in one scene. I guess some of the interior shots, of which there were a few, they went to a letterbox format, but they were really dark, so I didn't really notice any letterboxing coming in. There's only one scene where I went, oh, letterboxing. Odd enough, she was looking for it, she didn't notice it. Only one scene I caught. But either way, unbelievably gorgeous. The cinematography was just, I mean, it makes me want to film, put it that way. Like, it was that good. Just for any frame would have made just the most gorgeous, stunning photo. Really the color palettes they used were interesting choice for that era. It was, I think for a lot of the World War II movies, we sort of think of like Private Ryan, which is sort of a washed out look. And this wasn't washed out at all. It wasn't overly saturated, but there's some possible, some pretty vibrant, and it was really stunningly gorgeous to look at. Aside from just that, though, like the movie itself was really good, the mechanics were really good. My friend also, when she was complaining about the dialogue, one of the comments she said was, it would almost be better without. And you could almost do that movie as a silent film. It worked that well in just a visual setting where you didn't necessarily need to have the dialogue to know what was going on in individual scenes. There was a bit of time hopping a bit, which is very Christopher Nolan. So you had to kind of pay attention when like, it's light out, it's dark out, it's light out, it's dark out. It does all tie together, and it does make sense, but the first couple times it happened, I was like, what, is this day 2? Is this day 3? And I believe the entire thing takes place in one day. This is the idea, is it takes place over the span of one day. Yeah, it was so well done. I mean, the acting was spectacular. Everybody across the board. Harry Styles was actually really good, which if you guys have read the reviews, you probably heard that as well. I have no anti-boy band agenda kind of thing, but I will say I have no idea who the hell the guys in One Direction are, other than Harry Styles, because of just pop culture references. But he was quite good in it. Kenneth Branagh, was always good. For the life of me, I can't remember one of the other lead actors. Older gentleman who was in Bridge of Spies. I believe it was a movie with Tom Hanks. And I wish I could remember his name, because he was like utterly fantastic. But I will say this: if I'm not like being too effusive already, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's such a cinematic achievement, I guess is the way to put it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Nolan does next. I know there was a rumor at one point that he might want to do a Bond, and him and Daniel Craig, oh, that would be so good, because it's I'm just continually impressed with him as a filmmaker. Just every film he does, it's like another. It's like I'm not taking things to another level, different. You know, to do Memento, which was such a singular, you know, thing. You know, it's such an amazing little film achievement, and then, you know, pull off the Batman movies and make, you know, high art out of comic books. You know, I mean, The Dark Knight is, you know, it is what it is. You know, I would say that up until Logan was probably the best comic book film, and that's, you know, maybe debatable, but that's, you know, because Logan's pretty goddamn good. And then, you know, I loved Inception. I know some people didn't like it. I loved it. I loved just the trippiness aspect of it. Just the way he put stories together is just so much fun and so enjoyable to, you know, to live in that universe, even when it's a pretty intense thing like Dunkirk. One of the interesting aspects of that that I was discussing last night, though, was that my friend was getting, you know, she was pulling the girl card very jumpy, you know, grab the arm kind of thing, hide in her face. I just because she's war films kind of throw her off a bit, even though it's her idea to go see this. But it's really like it's not bloody. It's shockingly not a bloody film. Now there's a fair amount of death. People, I mean, it's, you know, it's war. It's war where people do die, but it was very. It wasn't gory at all. You know, it wasn't like watching Private Ryan and seeing people be blown up on the beach where you're like, oh, you know, seeing body parts. But with that, it didn't feel like it toned down the horrors of war at all. It didn't, you know, I mean, because that really wasn't what the movie was about. It was, you know, it was about an escape. You know, for as much destruction and lives were lost in that evacuation, it's my understanding of the history of it, which is, you know, also is very, very limited. I mean, I didn't really know the story until, you know, the movie was announced. That Germany had basically stopped advancing at some point and just kind of held the Allies, or held the English on the beach. So there wasn't as much death as there could have been. So I mean, hence I think they got like 300 and some 1,000 soldiers off the beach, like 350 or 340 out of 400,000. And you consider how many boats were sunk by U-boat stuff, that's pretty impressive. Anyway, so very, very long story short, go see the movie. It's totally worthwhile. You know, even at IMAX prices, actually, at IMAX prices, it's especially worthwhile. And with that, I really want to shoot IMAX. I know that will never happen. I'm so late in the game, even getting into, you know, filming and stuff. But that was it's so stunningly gorgeous to see film at 70 mil. There's just nothing like it. I can see why Tarantino refused to do anything else at this point, and why Nolan is keeping film alive as well. I'm so appreciative of directors who do that. Like I don't have much of a desire to shoot in a film. He's a photographer. I'd rather do wet plate than do 35 mil. I'm totally happy with digital, but it's just a stunning thing. And like I said, like any one of those frames could make a beautiful image on itself for a picture. So go see the movie. I shall see you guys tomorrow.